I walked into this record store and picked up this album, which had a very interesting black and white illustration on the cover. And when I flipped the album over, it had some color photographs of this bunch of guys that had unusual names: Carabello, Rolly, Santana, David Brown, Chipito Reyes. And I thought, wow, these are interesting because I'd never heard these names before. I realized they were kind of Spanish names, and the guys looked kind of hippie-ish, but also they looked like they had a lot of attitude, a lot of a street thing going on. So it kind of sparked my interest. I bought the album, took it home, and at the time, I was living with my parents. I used to kind of lie on the floor with my head under one of those radiograms to get the stereo effect. And I listened to the album, and it took me a little while to get into it, but I really started to think, wow, this music is very, very exciting. It's very different.
Being born and raised in San Francisco and growing up with it, it was funny because here was Jim, person from the UK, from the outside, that had maybe a better perspective than all of us that have kind of been born and raised and lived with this music and kind of took it for granted.
I'm from New York City, Puerto Rican. I played with all the big bands in New York. Thanks to God, I was blessed. I played with Nat King Cole, Dinah Washington, Sarah Vaughan, Billie Holiday, Machito and his Afro-Cubans, Tito Puente, Tito Rodriguez. I've been all over the world in about 50 years already. I've been in and out with Santana, Peter Escovedo, then Coke and I. We started the band Azteca.
I think I played here with you. I don't know if it was Azteca or not. It might have been, but we played here in San Francisco for Mayor Moscone, and you were telling me, you were telling me to take a solo, and I looked at you like, what is taking a solo? And you're telling me to play from your heart. So I just closed my eyes. I started playing. It just felt like such an overwhelming experience. I mean, I just went somewhere else musically, and I had never done that or experienced that before. And then when I opened my eyes, people were just going nuts and crazy and standing ovation, and I looked at Pops and I just had chills, and I was just overwhelmed with this feeling of joy and excitement. So when we were backstage after, I told Pops, like, wow, I mean, what happened? And this was amazing, it was crazy, and he hugged me, and we kind of started crying a little bit because he just basically said, I mean, really, I had no idea, I can't even deny that you do what you do. I mean, that's it. What am I gonna do? And I said, I'm going out on tour with you, Pops.
San Francisco was unique, very unique at that time. There was a lot of music happening within the same barrio. It wasn't, in the Mission District, it wasn't the same. It wasn't just Latin jazz, or it wasn't just Santana. There was a lot going on, a lot of music. I met Mike Carabello in a park in the Mission, Dolores Park, where we used to go play rumbas, just really open jamming in the park, He said, well, yeah, I'm gonna be forming a band, and I got a gig coming up. You wanna do it? And I said, yeah, I wanna do it. Here's my phone number. But there's nothing like hearing your answer machine and the voice of Mike Carabello's on your answer machine saying, hey man, this gig is this one, and we're gonna rehearse, and call me back if you want to do it. I was like, I kept that message forever, man.
Woo! Come on, baby. Say it.
You got another woman somewhere around. But hey, I'm a good woman. I could.